Hi everyone, I'm Susan Mulvihill. Here I am ready to do my first gardening video of the season, and look. So we have been having a very mild winter up until about 3 weeks ago, and then all of a sudden Mother Nature went, oh that's right, they're supposed to get a lot of snow during the winter. So here we are. Obviously not a lot of gardening is going to take place in this video today. But that's okay, because I wanted this first video to be an introduction of sorts. I wanted to introduce myself to you in case you have never seen my videos before, and also to give you kind of the lay of the land, because you're going to be seeing our garden and different areas of it throughout the season. So I'm very excited about that. Now, I am the garden columnist for the Sunday edition of the Spokesman Review newspaper here in Spokane, Washington. I've been doing that for about 13 years now. I've been a master gardener since 2002. I'm co-author of the Northwest Gardener's Handbook, and I absolutely am passionate about gardening. And I hope that some of that passion will rub off on you as well. So we're on 5 acres in a very rural area. We do deal with deer, the occasional moose, and several other challenges. But really, we grow a very nice garden every year because we've learned some strategies. The other thing I wanted to explain to you is that I have an awesome husband named Bill, and he is a huge help to me. He does a lot of work in our little orchard. He puts together all kinds of building projects for me and designs them. He takes care of our drip irrigation system, which is down there somewhere, but he does a lot of things, and I could not do what I do without his help, so I am very grateful. Now, unfortunately, he would rather be behind the camera and not in front of it, so you're just going to have to take my word for it that yes, he does exist and he's very helpful. So let me give you a little bit of the lay of the land here, and that way you can see what our garden setup is like. Now, obviously, you've never seen it covered with snow before, but I thought that'd be kind of fun. Okay, let's start out with the raised bed garden, because this is absolutely my favorite place, and you're going to be seeing an awful lot of it all spring, summer, and fall. We have 26 raised beds, which gives you an idea of how great I think they are. Now, most of them are 3 feet wide by 8 feet long. We also have 2 that are 3 feet wide by 16 feet long. You can't quite see them, and that's where we grow our raspberries. And then we also have 3 more beds to the south, and those are 4 feet wide by 16 feet long. They are awesome. Now, you probably notice I have a hoop house in the background here. That's something that Bill and I built about 4 years ago, and I use it year-round. This time of year, I'm using it to grow salad greens without the use of any electricity, which is great. And then during the summer months, we grow warm season crops such as tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, that type of thing. And so it really earns its keep. We also have a small greenhouse that is 6 feet wide by 8 feet long. It's mostly made of glass panels, but also has some twin wall panels on it, which are more energy efficient. And eventually, I think we'll replace all of the glass for the twin wall. Would you believe our neighbors actually gave this to us? That's pretty amazing, isn't it? It was something that was on their property when they bought it, and they didn't need the greenhouse, and so they said, would you like it? And we said, absolutely. So that's pretty cool. And then under all this snow, I've got a planting bench here, which is really handy for potting things. I'm standing in our water garden room right now, and it's an area I absolutely love. This is something Bill and I created many years ago, and the pond is definitely the centerpiece of the garden. It is about 13 by 17 feet. It's 3 feet deep. So it doesn't freeze solid in the winter, but we do keep the waterfall going so that the water stays open. We've got fish in there, mostly koi and goldfish, and a nice little sitting area, which is not looking too pleasant for sitting right now. We also created a berm that has all kinds of native plants, so that's a real attractor for birds especially. And it's just a wonderful place to be. This is our small orchard, and it's right next door to the water garden room. This is where Bill does a lot of his wonderful work. because we grow everything organically. And of course, we've had to fine-tune things over the years as we learn more about how to deal with orchard pests organically. So we've got 20 fruit trees, and it's all different kinds and also of different ages, because some of the trees over the years we've thought, nah, that didn't work out so well. We don't like that variety, or it doesn't grow well here. But we have peaches, plums, apricots, cherries, pears, and of course apples, because when you live in Washington State, you definitely have to grow apples. Now, while I'm in the orchard, I wanted to point out our deer fence. This is what has allowed us to grow our tree fruits and our vegetable garden without certain types of critters eating everything. It is 7.5 feet tall, which has worked really well, and it's a combination of a 4-foot tall field fence and 3.5 feet of a deer mesh that you can buy either online or at some of the garden centers. This has really been a game changer for us. In our backyard, we have island beds filled with native plants, different types of perennials. We've got different types of roses as well. Lovely sitting area, which isn't looking too appealing at this moment. And really just some nice native plantings around here which really draw in the birds. So let's talk about birds for a sec. I wanted to show you our bird feeding station. This is where we feed the birds during the winter months. And it's a little bit messy by this time of year, but we have the 3-tube finch feeder that holds Niger thistle seeds, and some different hanging feeders that hold either wild bird seed or black oil sunflower seeds. We also have some suet feeders, primarily for woodpeckers, but we occasionally get in other types of birds that really enjoy the suet. There's also 2 bird baths. The one on the left that has the little frog statue next to it is not being used this time of year, obviously. But the one on the right that's leaning a little bit from all the snow is a heated bird bath. And that is something that has been really great for the birds this time of year, because they really need water for drinking and, believe it or not, even for bathing. It's one thing that they do to keep themselves healthy. Watching birds is something that has really given us a lot of pleasure over the years. I feel like I've learned so much just taking the time to sit and watch and see what they do. Now, another area I wanted to point out to you is where we've planted all kinds of native shrubs. These are such an important part of the landscape because they attract pollinators and they attract birds. They also attract other types of wildlife, sometimes good, sometimes not so good, because sometimes the deer like to munch on them, but that's okay. So we put these in. They are drought tolerant. They're very easy to grow. Now behind here, which you cannot see, is our lavender patch. We have over 300 lavender plants, and the reason we planted them many years ago is because there was nothing growing over here before and it just looked kind of blighted. And so we decided we wanted something that was deer resistant, drought tolerant, and low maintenance. And lavender was definitely the answer. So this is a Munstead variety, so it is very hardy, and they're just gorgeous when they're in bloom in the summer. Now, under this big pile of snow here is my huge perennial and annual flower bed out front. I love this area because I love seeing all of the pollinators coming in, the butterflies, the birds, and so on. And so this is going to be very colorful in a few months. Now, what I'm particularly excited to show you is that back here, my husband and I are going to put in a pollinator garden. So that's something that's going to start taking place in early May. And we're going to map out this big area, put in some bird baths, maybe another insect hotel, and all kinds of native perennials to draw in those pollinators. Well, that's the end of my winter garden tour. I hope it wasn't too hysterical because you can't really see a whole lot of what's going on underneath. But I did want to give you an idea of what our garden layout is like, because you're going to be seeing a whole lot of it all season long. Now this year marks the 3rd year that I've been doing these Everyone Can Grow a Garden videos, and I'm very excited to be facing a new season with you. One thing that I did recently is I created some playlists on my YouTube channel so that you can see all of the 2018 videos together, all of the 2017 videos. I've created a playlist for just vegetable gardening videos, one for flower gardening videos, and so on. So I do hope that you will visit my YouTube channel, which is located at youtube.com/c/susansinthegarden. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, and I have a website, susansinthegarden.com. I do hope you'll pay me a visit. So I'll see you next week for the next video. I do hope we don't have a blanket of snow anymore, but I'm not going to hold my breath. So I'll see you then.